Today on Stu's cookery class, I'm going to be showing you how to make a sweet potato and couscous salad with either halloumi or tofu. First, we're going to prep our veg, so I'm just thinly slicing one red onion. I'm going to quarter some cherry tomatoes. It's really important that these are nice and small, so if they're quite big you could chop them down a little more. Here I'm slicing 2 spring onions, all of the green and all of the white, there's no need to waste any. And I'm actually going to really finely dice half a carrot here, but if you're a bit concerned about doing it that fine, you can always just thinly slice it and that'll work just as well. And I'll show you that in just a moment too. Now that we've done that, we're going to dice our dried apricots. Now I'm just halving these down the middle and running across them. And I'm then going to slice, whether you're using halloumi or tofu, just some nice thick pieces, and these are going to be fried off. And I'm going to do the same with some sweet potato. And you'll notice here it's a little wobbly, so I trim off a little bit on the bottom to give me a nice flat edge so that it isn't going to wobble around and rock over. You'll want to take your time doing this. It is a little bit of a skill and it can be a bit tricky. I'm then going to fry off all of my sweet potato. Now I am using a griddle pan here, but that's just because it's the biggest pan I have, and I'm making sure that all of the sweet potato has a little bit of oil coating the bottom. Once they're nice and charred on one side, I'm going to turn them over and crisp them up on the other side as well. And some of these might take longer than others. If you didn't have a large pan, you could actually do this in a couple of batches just to make life easier. Now once I've taken those out, my pan's still screaming hot, so I'm going to add in my halloumi. Now the halloumi will char up really quickly, and it was only on the heat for about 30 seconds before I turned it over. Once you've done that, I actually just turned my heat off and slid the pan to the back. If you're doing this with tofu, it might take a little longer to crisp up, more like 2 to 3 minutes on each side. I'm now adding my chickpeas onto the tray with the sweet potato, and these are going to crisp up in the oven and have a really nice shell on them. I'm also adding 4 cloves of garlic, and we're going to pop this in the oven on 160 for half an hour. While that's in the oven, I'm frying off my thinly sliced red onion until it's nice and soft and slightly golden. We're then going to add 140 ml of water, and I'm going to crumble into that half of a vegetable stock cube just to add a bit of extra flavour. Once they're mixed, I've turned the heat off and I've added my couscous into the pan. We're just going to mix this together, cover it over, and leave it to sit for about 15 to 20 minutes. Once it's been sat, it should be nice and cooked, and one way to double check is to have a little taste, and if it's still a bit firm, you can add some extra liquid, just some boiled water from the kettle, and stir that in, and it will take a little time for it to absorb. But now that mine's ready, I'm going to add in my veg, so I'm just going to add all of my tomato, my spring onions, my carrot, all straight in there, and give it a thorough mix. We're then going to leave this again to sit, and this is so that the heat from the couscous will make the other veg sweat, and it'll bring out all the flavours and the juices, and it'll make it taste fantastic. We're now going to work on the dressing, so I've got about 5 tablespoons of vegan yogurt, and I'm adding in 2 teaspoons of mint sauce. Now that my sweet potato's been in for half an hour, it's nice and soft and I've checked every piece. I'm putting my halloumi back on top, and this would work just the same with tofu. We're going to give that 10 minutes in the oven just to get really nice and hot. I've then just stacked mine up in a bowl, I've sprinkled over some pomegranate and generously heaped on dressing. If you like this video, hit that button, and if you really liked it, why not check out some of my other videos. Thanks for watching.